Yeah. We're here. We're doing this.
A little pound.
Let's do a double pound.
Double pound. Oh, let's create a little secret handshake. Okay. There we go.
Yeah. Oh,
Patty cake. Oh.
No, this is me and my sister used to have a secret handshake.
Okay.
And this is it. Megan, if you're watching, tell me if you remember this. It's like this. Back. This. 1, 2, 3.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, me and my sister used to do that.
That's fun.
Yeah, totally.
I've probably created like a million secret handshakes with people in my life, and I can't remember one of them. So that's impressive that you guys remember it.
Church of Chill needs a secret handshake.
Yeah, like a way that like we're a secret society and you.
Mm-hmm. Like
nothing creepy though, you know.
Nothing creepy, and nothing that noticeable. It has to just be a subtle take on something you would normally see people do.
It's like a hang loose and then a pound or something.
Yeah.
Or like a.
Or pound then. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
That's the Church of Chill secret
Because
handshake.
if you did that to someone who wasn't in the Church of Chill secret handshake, they would. It's not weird. You'd just be like, "Oh yeah, nice to meet you."
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Oh, you do that too. You say you do that often.
You know the church?
Oh yeah.
You know the good church? Oh man, we really got to establish it as a real church.
I know.
It's we're so fucking crazy. Everything is just life just happens so fucking fast, and you know, and anytime it slows down for a second, I feel like
you just need to catch your breath.
I'm just like I'm very precious about that space. Like it's slowed down a little bit. This is life. That's my life. Like that's when I want to just hang out with my girls and do my thing. Mm-hmm. You know. I miss our girl Mare.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is crazy. We're Sean and Cass, very ape.
Yeah. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining us. We're out here in Abu Dhabi doing some work out here. Feels good.
Yeah.
Feels really good. It's a cool place. Way cooler than I thought.
Way cooler than we thought. Really cool people.
When we got this gig, I was like, our client doesn't want to do this. It might be true. It might be true. Like, going to the desert in the summer.
I was thinking it'd be a lot hotter than it is, so we've been really lucky.
It'll get hot. This is a mild week. Everyone keeps saying like this isn't bad, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, you're like
drenched. Yeah, which like Mayor said, like all you gotta tell yourself is free sauna. You know, and I do, and I appreciate that because I love sweating more than anything. When I don't like sweating is when I'm fully clothed and when I'm sleeping. That's it. That's the only times I don't want to sweat. No.
And most of your life, you're either fully clothed or sleeping.
Yeah. I mean, back in the States, I don't care. I'll rip my shirt off anywhere because I'm like, fuck you, free the nipple. Like, this is what I'm doing. Here, I'm like, is this legal? Are you allowed to just like, it's probably not in good taste to just rip your shirt off out here.
It's definitely a lot more liberal than other Middle Eastern countries, but they kind of said yesterday, they're like, don't take your shirt off here.
Who said that?
Allah, our local fixer.
Because you said, can Sean take his shirt off?
No, she just, I think, has gotten the vibe that you like to take your shirt off a lot.
She was like, tell Sean, don't take his shirt off. No, I know. It's crazy. But we're out here. It's really cool. It's cool being overseas. It's I'm very grateful. Very, very, very.
No, this is so
grateful.
exciting. Our last big job was also a travel job that we were like, whoa, our life is so cool.
Yeah.
Like maybe this wouldn't have been the first place we would think to come to, but like the fact that we're coming here on a job and getting to meet all these local people and they're taking us to their favorite places and we're doing the most interesting and fun things. Like, damn, it's like couldn't be cooler.
Yeah. It's crazy. And like sometimes it's good to just settle down for a second and be like, how did we end up here? You know? Because I've done a lot of really cool, big international travel jobs. I still feel like a failure. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy to feel like you're failing at what you love doing.
I think it's the
professional capacity of it, you know?
Yeah, but that's the life of a freelancer.
Yeah.
Is like you have a job, you're like, I'm on top of the world. And then like however much time goes, we're like, there's no call because whatever, it's just the ebb and flow of the nature of work. And you're just like, will I ever work again? Will someone ever call me again? You know, It's like this trust fall into the universe that, and a lot of times I think you and I will put energy out there, like trying to drum up business, and it doesn't come back directly correlated, you know? But I have found that like, okay, we're like, let's commit to trying to get work, and we'll like email a bunch of people and stuff, and And usually,
those aren't the people that end up giving us the job, but the universe heard us being like, let's do this.
yeah.
And then something random like this will come across.
But this was actually from us, like, you being like, keeping your ear to the street as far as like people that might be interested in working with us. And they were like, yeah. So,
Yeah. No, I know. The way this one went down makes me feel like we've probably missed a lot of opportunities for not just being slightly more proactive. 'Cause there's this puritanical version of me about our art, and it feels like that gets compromised when I have to do commercial jobs and stuff.
mm-hmm.
And so I beat myself up about it, and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be the guy that pursues those things, this and that. But, you know, the truth is, it's like, it's all art, you know. I'm the art,
Mm-hmm.
and the way I see the world is, I think, unique and different, and I think I can pull things out of people, and I think when we work together, it's fucking magic. It's insane. It's insane. We watch magic take place in front of us, and we get to film it.
Yeah.
And yeah, but the way it works is very mysterious. Thank God we have enough of a sample size now to know that it's mysterious, and it really comes more from us just having the most positive attitude and investing in ourselves time and time again. And it seems like every time we make a movie, whether it's directly correlated to that movie, we get a gig.
Oh, yeah. The universe definitely likes to reward us when we're like, hey, we're just going to put this movie out for free on the internet and see if anyone likes it.
Oh, yeah. The angels love a free movie on YouTube.
I'm determined. I'm not determined. I'm at that place where I'm like, this is definitely what's happening.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. And you know what the angels hate? I think bitching and moaning. I think they don't like that. I think they like they like my song in general, but they don't like that part of it. And when I get in the bitching, moaning, victimhood narrative, it's like the angels are like, let's let them fucking fry.
Yeah, let's let them go to the bottom with this one.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, we're very lucky. I would say that's the biggest factor in how we're here. If you go back to the beginning of the whole thing, I feel like the biggest factor is luck. And I just want people to understand that. I'm not like thinking that I'm fucking God's gift. That said, I am fucking God's gift. Like, you know what I mean? We're so good at this, it's inappropriate. It's inappropriate how good at this we are, you know? And it's, we can kind of be so cognizant of that fact and confident of ourselves that, yeah, we'll make a little money off a commercial and say, fuck this. We're not pursuing work until we are completely out of this money. And that's what we do every time. We won't take on a job until we're running out of money.
And we also, when we take on a job, we want the person to, or people or company or whatever, to want to work with us because we have a lot to offer. So if it's not appreciated, that's like kind of a bummer.
Yeah. It's rarely not appreciated. I think.
Well, because we're always working with people who want to work with us.
We're always working with people who reached out to us because they're a fan of ours. But then it changed. Then it's like they hire you for that, but then they want you to a lot of times just be a sock puppet. And this one's cool because this one feels like in line with some of our films and stuff, doesn't it?
No, it definitely is like kind of this hybrid travel doc thing that we're, I think, going to establish a way of approaching this that hope we can do many seasons of this. So.
I think we could do many seasons of this and other things like it that take it a little further in the travel doc world.
A little deeper.
I think the travel doc world is like criminally underexplored.
Mm-hmm.
I think you watch them and you kind of just see the same things pop up over and over again, and the same types of attitudes and the same scripted this and that, and like we could take it much further, and we can, I think, focus in on themes that people wouldn't even touch otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And like we have some great ideas that I think once we see how this relationship with this client plays out, like they're already saying, like, pitch us ideas and like, let's see how this plays out. And if this one goes well, I would love to give them some of our ideas that like we've been sitting on for a while, waiting for the right thing to come along. So I think that is the main thing that makes me feel confident right now, even though we've gone broke over the pandemic. We are rich with friends and ideas and motivation right now, and that feels really good. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot to be grateful for.
So luck, huge factor. Huge, wouldn't you say?
Definitely.
But then also just like Michael Jordaning this shit, you know? Like how you were saying the other day, you're like, Michael Jordan never pictured himself losing or missing the shot. He only pictured the success. And I was really good about that. I've been really good about that.
Yeah.
Even before I met you. Like just to even have the boldness to say like I want to be a filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get accepted to any film schools.
Right.
You know? Like and then to come out of a cinema studies program having watched every movie known to man, and I have this language that I understand deeply in my head and I want to apply it, but not being able to yet because I had to go out there and work.
But in your mind, you're still, I'm a director.
In my mind the whole time, since I'm 16, I'm a director. I've never directed anything, but I'm a director. And not even knowing what that means.
Uh-huh.
Not even really knowing what that means. I'm a director. And I didn't really do it. Like I got to do it for hire at History Channel a lot. Like I got in there and I was a writer producer, and then they would send me to direct stuff, and that was my film school. I learned a lot of skills on someone else's dime, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I had enough skills, I found a subject that I liked. I filmed them. I made a 7-minute short documentary. I put it on the internet for free. And I had mononucleosis from making out with babes in Williamsburg. And so I was like just sitting in my house for 3 weeks. And during those 3 weeks, I noticed like, oh, I could apply this to Sundance. I didn't even know they accepted short films. So I applied to Sundance on a whim, and then months later I get a call like, hey, you got accepted to Sundance. That changed my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Again, luck. Like some ridiculous amount, like 6,000 fucking short films got submitted that year, and like I got in there. Like it was crazy. When I got into Sundance, I got signed to make commercials, and so there was confidence being infused in the process. Like my first thing got recognized on the highest level it could get recognized. I got nominated for a fucking Emmy. Remember we went to the Emmys?
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it was crazy. So just believing in myself and just saying like it might not all happen at once, but the people who see the world the way I do will really appreciate what I do. And as long as I keep putting it out there and try to slay that inner perfectionist that wants to be the best filmmaker of all time right out of the gate, and instead just be like, you know what? All my work is going to be a chronicle of me growing into being a great filmmaker. And I'm still in that process, you know. Everything we do as we finish it, I'm like, I'm so much better than that now. And I cannot, and that's what keeps me motivated to keep going out there and doing it.
Yeah.
Despite the ups and downs of our finances and where we live and, how we make money and all this shit.
Well, I think
there's that consistent thing of like, I'm always focused on a project. I have a film in my head that I'm looking to capture, you know.
Yeah, I think that's the God we serve, the priority is like, okay, how can we make art,
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, we're definitely very grateful for the commercials and that they come, but I don't think we
don't serve those gods, really.
I still don't think, and I think that's probably why the commercial work comes.
Few and far between.
Well, yes, but also after we put out a movie, because we didn't make the movie being like, we need to make this movie so we can get commercial work.
Yeah.
We're just like, we just noticed that like, oh, when we devote our energy and time to our creative pursuits, like luckily the resources show up for us to get through another month.
Yeah, God. And it's insane how it seems to continue to work out. But I think a lot of people could look at our life and say it didn't or it doesn't, you know?
Yeah, well, I'm like, we're not out of the clear. We're still in the red.
Yeah, totally.
And but to at least just feel like, oh, there's positive momentum. But I don't know. Yeah, if you're alive in America right now, the idea that you're not getting crushed by inflation, I think we all are like.
Oh, yeah, we take this job on and we're like, cool, we're going to make all this money. And then inflation happens and you're like, cool, we're not going to really make any money on this. But okay, we're going to go do it. And like, just kind of, again, just like showing our guides, showing the angels, showing whatever fucking force is flowing through this universe and keeping everything connected. Like, we're here for it. We're not asleep at the wheel. The gods we serve are the gods of connection and art and creativity. And we'll do that in a commercial capacity and in a personal capacity. But besides that, divest from everything else, you know? Like McKenna always says, like, stop paying attention. Stop paying attention to culture. Like, it has nothing to do with you. Just divest from that whole thing and do you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best thing we could do, is because we're getting hypnotized and pulled in a million different directions and indoctrinated into serving gods that don't serve us. And that's when you got to take a sober look at your life. And if you feel like you're being pulled out of alignment and you're an artist, and I feel like I'm talking to somebody specifically right now, I don't know who it is, but I feel someone receiving this. Like if you feel out of alignment because you feel you're an artist and you haven't been able to do it yet, take the chance, do the thing, do whatever you got to do, get scrappy. Cass and I don't come from money. And a lot of people that make films, that is the prerequisite, whether they admit it or not. Whether they admit it or not. Usually if someone's making films at any kind of a clip and they don't seem wealthy, it's just because they're hiding that fact, you know? And we have been wealthy, but we're self-made, you know? We really...
I mean, that is my mom's she's very proud. She's like, I'm getting this place where I'm like, kind of need to ask her for money. And all she says is, she's like, I'm so proud. You've never asked me for money. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
She said, don't make me ask. Don't make me ask,
I'm
Mama.
like, I'm starting to need money.
Nah, we're not going to need that. We're going to be fine.
No, yeah. I just think of like, oh, we need to fucking help buying a car or something like that.
Oh, it's,
Stuff
I
like
mean,
that.
look, and you
I'd
have...
rather take a loan from her than from
Yeah.
someone else, you know?
You have to laugh at it, and you have to... when you look at the circumstances of our life and anyone's life over the past 2-3 years, it's just like, we just got fucking put out of business by a goddamn pandemic that still no one's explained what's going on, when it's going to end, when we can, you know what I mean? That fucked us up to not be able to do anything for fucking over a year.
It was the best time, though.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. You got to flip it on its head, and you're like, oh, everyone got the necessary respite that they needed from this fucking madness. And we got to kind of relook at our priorities a little bit and not feel obligated to produce, and instead, like, just fall back a little bit.
There's this whole thing about how people don't want to work, and I don't really believe that. I think people do want to work. They just want to be valued for their time and effort and energy that they put into the work that they do. Like, I want to work more than ever right now.
Yeah, me too. We're very capable. We're too fucking capable. You know, a lot of times our skills aren't even fully utilized on these things. This is a good one. This is putting our skills to use in a lot of ways. You're doing the job of 20 people right now.
No, it's okay.
You know, it is, but I'm just like, you're so unbelievably competent and talented. You are a top tier documentary casting person.
Thanks, Sean.
And it's not even in your job description.
No.
You're just like, I'm a producer. No, like, you find subjects.
I like doing it. I am finding that I like doing it.
You're so good at it.
Okay,
I told you
thanks.
years ago when I first met you and your mom was retiring, I said, you two should open a real person casting agency. They get paid a lot of money.
I love
and your mom's really good at it, and you're good at it. And she did her whole career as
market research.
Like standing in front of test groups and like finding people that represent brands
and being like a brand consultant.
Yeah. But I mean, it goes far beyond making money. You know, you find the people for our films. Like, you connect with them. You know, you hold space for them so I can come in and do my thing, and I could just be a cool guy.
Yeah, maybe one day I could just do that. I have mixed feelings about producing. Sometimes I wish like there would be someone else who would do it and I could be more of a creative producer, executive producer. But then sometimes I'm kind of opinionated about how things happen.
That's what it comes down to. You're like me. You know, if you want a job done right, you know you're going to do it yourself. And I don't
always do it right, but I'm still going to do it.
Yeah, but you do it your way, and we do it our way.
Yeah.
But it seems like you're getting better at it, and it seems like every time when you seem overwhelmed, and I'm like, hire people. I'm like, wait, just hire people to do the stuff you don't want to do. You're like, no, but then I'm gonna have to explain to them like my way of doing things and all this stuff, and I get that. So you end up taking on the job of many people, and it's why our company's been able to be as profitable as it is, and our company being as profitable as it's been on these jobs funds our films. This job ain't a profitable one, but we're in Abu Dhabi. We're like on a honeymoon right now. This is crazy. Yeah. You know, we're running. This is our one down day, but like. Our work days it's not work. We're hanging out with locals and just doing the coolest things we could do around here and filming it.
Yeah.
It's what we'd want to be doing anyway.
It's like, shit, I got to figure out how to go wakeboarding.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
I got to figure out how to rent a yacht.
Yeah, exactly. They're fun problems to have, you know.
Totally. And that's what I just always have to, and there are always these producers that you would work with, and I'd just be so in awe of how chill and calm they are.
Well, still are. We still are in awe of those guys.
Oh, totally. I'm not saying that. Yeah, definitely. But I find myself more stepping into like, oh, I could be like that person one day.
Totally.
And I think you reminded me, is like, well, when you started working with them or meeting them,
they were
like,
in their 50s.
Yeah. So it's like they've seen it all. I'm not saying they probably didn't start off chiller and calmer than I am even, but
No, that's what makes you chill and calm.
It's having seen it before, experienced it before, knowing that like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, knowing that you did your job. I think a lot of in work and in my line of work, it's like, what the fuck do I need to remember, and making sure you don't drop any balls. And with more experience, you kind of juggling becomes easier because you know where the balls are and what needs to happen when and stuff like that.
Yeah. These jobs used to be way harder for me because, like I said, I think I was bringing in a puritanical spirit to them. Like, no, I do things a certain way, this and that. And it's like the fact of the matter is the exploration takes place in our personal projects. And then you apply the stuff and take formulas from that to do here. And I can do that. And I can say now, I used to not know this, and I used to feel a lot more nervous, and I would be so nervous going into a shoot. Now I don't even know how I could get nervous about a shoot, you know, because I understand what it is. It's like, we're going to get visuals and audio, and we're going to put those together, like, and I can figure out how many shots we would need for this kind of thing and what kind of music, and like it's you know, like it's all pretty, I don't want to say formulaic, but like I've broken it down. I've done this so many times in so many different places that I understand the spectrum of things that could go right and wrong.
And now we're taking on doing our own sound, so.
And now we're running our own sound, which is a first. This is the first job we're doing that. You know, there's not a budget for a sound guy, so it is what it is. But if we now can include that on in our tool belt, that we can do sound, think about how much that opens up our personal projects. Think about how much further we could take this.
Next, we're gonna have to learn how to do video.
Yeah, but I love collaborating with a cinematographer too much. They're my favorite. You know, I all the cinematographers we've worked with they're our best friends, and I love that too much. Like you don't collaborate with a sound person. They just go and they do their job. And if you're watching a film and you notice their job, they didn't do their job very well.
Yeah.
You know, that's a job that should just not be noticed.
And there's like I was talking to my friend Liza, who's the documentary director. She's like, you should hire a sound person. You just don't want to have to think about that stuff. I'm like, yeah, no, I would love to.
I'd love to. We just don't have the budget for it. So.
But this, like, I think where's most important is for us doing our own sound and being able to like kind of make sure that we can do this is for the personal projects, because when you are hiring a sound guy every day, the length of time you can even spend shooting
is limited.
Because
yeah, remember Sweet Nothing? Like, we're filming someone taking LSD. That's a 12-hour experience at least. And, you know, we have a sound guy for 10 hours.
I think he would have stayed longer.
He would have stayed longer, but it's like then we got to like, it's weird. It's just weird to be like, yeah, we agreed on a day rate for this many hours. Like, to ask someone to do something above and beyond that, it's just not the way I look at people. I don't want to take advantage of anybody. So it is what it is. We had him for 10 hours. We did our best, and we got the movie. But yeah, if we were doing sound, I don't know. I think we could step into a new dimension.
Yeah, we have some plans coming up.
Yeah. Oh my God, we have so many cool projects, so many cool things. Like, what I really wish we had, and I feel like we've been on the cusp of this a couple times, is like a rich benefactor, somebody who really believes in our art in particular and wants to keep seeing the world through our lens, and somebody that will, say, I'm giving you this amount of money per year to produce a project, and I'm the executive producer of that project each year. Wouldn't that be cool?
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And they can come on the movies with us if they want.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And we could get a house where they could be part of the edit.
I don't know if anyone in their right mind would want to be part of the edit process. That, it's fun. To me, that's the most fun part of it. It's the part of this where I feel most in my element is when we're putting it together in post.
Totally.
It's what I have the most experience with, because way before I started shooting, I was a producer at History Channel, and I was a promo producer. I had to produce promos for History Channel shows that a lot of times were barely even finished. So they're just sending me scraps of footage, and I'm just figuring out how to make the show look and feel like something that people would want to watch. So I've just worked with countless editors, countless days, so many things. So that's where I have the most experience. And then I started to get out there a little bit more and wanting to shoot and wanting to direct and stuff. But really, I can be as cool as a cucumber on set because I know how good I am in the edit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can, there's nothing that could frazzle me about what we're doing out there. There's nothing, oh, we blew it, we didn't get that, oh fuck. And it's like, no, I know exactly how to put these together. I know exactly what I need. I know exactly what's going to work and what's going to make you feel this way and what's going to make you feel that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're very lucky. We're very blessed. It's a count your blessings episode for sure. Yeah.
Delicioso.
Yeah, we need to be drinking constant water here.
Yeah.
We're sitting in an air-conditioned room, and I'm drenched.
I think that's, yeah. You went in the bathroom the other night, and they had, like, the different pee test. Like, they were like, if it's this color, you need to drink, like, a glass and a half of water.
Yeah, that's every bathroom in Abu Dhabi, every public restroom has a little sign in there that says, like, hey, if your pee is, it just
you
shows.
gotta imagine that, like, at a certain time of year, especially here, is that, that's a risk.
It's dangerous, yeah.
And that's probably what most people end up in the hospital for is dehydration.
Yeah. I think most people just anywhere are pretty dehydrated.
That's like what happens at festivals and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's why a lot of drugs end up sending people to the hospital at festivals.
Right. Because it's exacerbating.
Yeah, the drugs give you the ability to dance endlessly, and you're sweating, and you don't think you need anything when you're on those drugs, but your body definitely does.
You feel amazing.
Yeah, you feel amazing, but you're tricking your body, and you need to still, like, those drugs are even way better when you're taking care of your body when you're using them. So, not that we use drugs.
Definitely not in Abu Dhabi.
No. This is a drug-free zone.
I did see, though, that before we came out here, it didn't affect us because we just were like, we need to play it safe. But that that the UAE is now saying that they'll just dispose of weed if you fly in with it.
Yeah, like if you got caught flying in with weed, that they're like, oh, we'll just confiscate it.
Yeah, but the guy we were working with is like, I wouldn't trust that. They'll take you right to the jail. I wouldn't trust that at all.
Yeah, the driver, I was like, look, we didn't do it. We wouldn't put our client in danger like that, or ourselves. Well, we would put ourselves in that kind of danger. If this were a personal project, I might have done it, but we would never put anyone else in that kind of danger. But he was like, he's like, I don't know what those articles are saying. It's weird because we found a bunch of articles that were like,
I think they are trying to, like, this is like one of
they're trying to appeal to Americans. They're trying to say, like, hey,
don't be scared.
Don't be scared to come over here. And really, we're here. Don't be scared to come over here.
Yeah, definitely don't be scared.
There's nothing to be scared about to come over here.
It was
this
like
place
the
is
easiest
awesome.
customs. It was the easiest everything.
Yeah.
Everything feels like the U.S. Like, a lot of times when you travel abroad, you feel like the energy of, like, oh, I'm in a foreign country. It feels so foreign.
Ireland and England feel more foreign than this.
Probably because they're old cities, so you're not only just traveling.
Portugal felt way more foreign than this.
You're, like, in this, like, rich history, and I'm just saying, like, this is, like, kind of in a deserty area that's, like, a newer construction. So it just feels very comfortable because it's, like, very familiar in a lot of ways.
It's very modern city. Picture like a sterilized Las Vegas with no traffic.
Somehow the cheaps were, like, probably not that much more than flying to LA, and
the cheaps. The flights.
What did I call them? The cheaps.
Cheaps. Somehow the cheaps. Yeah, no, the flights weren't that bad, but yeah, it was interesting that our driver was like, I wouldn't go believing that stuff. He's like, if they found drugs on you when you arrived here, he's like, there wouldn't even be a conversation. Somebody would scoop you up and take you straight to jail.
Yeah, probably not worth risking it for another few years until stuff really laxes.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Yeah. Let's let someone else be the canary in the coal mine on that one.
Well, it seems like the direction we're going, UAE is going to be more liberal than the USA.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very nervous.
Yeah. It's yeah, but we were like, well, does anyone do drugs here? And he almost laughed at us. Like, of course. Yeah, but I really meant that genuinely.
I did too. I was actually curious.
I'm like, everything here just like, it doesn't feel like there's a drug problem here.
Well,
And
we're in like the hotel area, and
we've driven around now for a week, and I'm like, this doesn't really feel. There's not a homelessness issue here. No one's homeless. There's no homeless people here.
As far as we can see, yeah.
Where the fuck would they be?
I don't
There's
know.
no homeless people here. They take care of the people here.
Yeah, no, it definitely.
Everything's subsidized by oil money.
It definitely feels like this is the place you go where stuff just works.
Yes.
Like, you're just like,
yes. Exactly.
shit just works here.
Yeah.
They have the money to make things work.
Yeah.
They were like going around on the flight on the way over, like taking Polaroids and like.
God, the flight was a damn pleasure.
Oh,
it was
geez.
crazy. Like, yeah, it was. But I was like, what's the deal? Do people do drugs here? And he's like, yeah, man. And I was like, do anyone smoke weed? And he's like, yeah, people smoke hash, smoke weed. But it's very risky. And I was like, who are these dealers? And he's like, the dealers don't even live here.
Yeah.
The way that it works, and this is an interesting, like if we had to make it like a personal doc, this could be an angle. If we had to come here and like,
I'm not doing it.
No, it's too risky. But like basically, if you and well, he said the main drugs here that people abuse are meth and pills, which actually surprised me.
Yeah, I was like, meth.
Meth?
That happens other places.
Yeah.
You know?
Meth ain't even a problem really in New York that much. Like, you know.
No, I didn't mean New York. I just meant like the States.
No, I know. But yeah, I was kind of surprised that meth and pills were the issue. And he said the way people get them is like, you'll text a drug dealer that you never meet face to face. They live in Pakistan and they've hidden bundles of drugs all over the place, and they'll just send you text them the money and they send you the coordinates.
Jesus, I think it's hilarious.
I think that's hilarious. That's the future of drug dealing.
Definitely.
You send it in on a drone to some weird place and
drone. Yeah, drone dealing.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
No brainer.
No brainer.
That's how you should at a festival.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, yeah. Festivals so easy to get drugs into. If you can't get drugs into a festival, you have a real problem.
No, I don't even mean getting them into the festival. Once you're at the festival, then be like, oh, I'll deliver to you. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. But isn't that wild though? Like the drug dealers don't even live here. You never meet them. It's
That's
not
smart.
Like it's really smart.
Because it doesn't matter if you have like a gram or like a kilo. You're gonna get 25
years.
It's really not. Doesn't seem like anything could be worth that
This
risk.
kid told us, he was like, I wouldn't trust my best friend when it comes to this stuff. He's like, I tell my best friend I don't trust him. And if I had drugs, I wouldn't tell anyone. Like, that's how crazy it is here. That being said, it's not like cops are patrolling the street. They're like, it literally, he said the way our culture is, he's like, you don't even need to get slapped. This is enough. He's like, we all respond to that. He's like, that's how
people would be giving out like someone's name, like
exactly.
Someone comes back like this, you don't even have to hit you,
and you'll give
be
it
like,
up.
You're like, oh, it was this guy.
Yeah, like the fear is fully baked in terms of that stuff.
Yeah, 25 years will put that kind of fear into you, won't it?
Oh yeah, totally. Not that I think that that's the way people should be treated, and that's the way consciousness should be regulated by governments. But
yeah, definitely not.
Obviously, we're very much against that. But I'm also not one to fucking come in and say like, here's how some culture should do. Like this is a different culture. This is a whole different side. We're on the opposite side of the world from where we belong. So it's not my business. If they want to have a drug-free society, they should go for it. I think it's next to impossible, though. I think it is impossible to have a drug-free society. I think certain people, most people, need to alter their consciousness in some way. There's a lot of acceptable forms. There's a lot of legal forms even here. But, you go to a hookah bar. I'm sure if I did that, that would be the highest I've ever been in my life.
Do you want to go to a hookah bar?
No. I can't. I think I'm done with nicotine.
Yeah.
Fully. I think even
did your dance.
I fully did my dance with nicotine. Luckily, it was a short one. And
even as you were doing it, it was kind of crazy, given that your dad smokes so much and that you've for so long known how addictive and disruptive it can be that you ever picked it up at all. I mean,
it snuck into my life in other forms because it wasn't
jungle medicine.
It was through jungle medicine. Yeah, I got it through Hoppe. It was really the first time I ever messed with anything containing nicotine, and I was always against smoking.
I could go for a nicotine salt right now.
Ooh, those things are so good.
Just have it take me down.
Well, for me, it started with the Hoppe, and then spliffs. Because before that, I would never even hit a spliff. If someone had a spliff, I'd be like, get that away from me. And after the hot bay, I'm like, I'll try that spliff. And the spliffs took over for a while, which destroyed my lungs. And then to get off the spliffs, I started doing those little Zen pouches, which I'm sure if anyone's been watching the podcast for a long time, you've seen me do a million of those.
And if we got you into them, we're really sorry.
Oh yeah, don't get into those. Don't get into that shit. I never did vaping nicotine or anything like that, but those little pouches were very addictive. And like you say, I don't want to have to be relying on something on the day to day.
Oh yeah, I hate that feeling like I need something.
I have to do it.
Yeah, like I need some. I'll feel better when I do the thing that I need.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
I mean, like,
it's so giving your power away.
It is.
I don't want to do
is.
that. I'd hate when anything has power over me.
Yeah, nicotine had power.
You're
over
the
me.
only thing that's allowed to have power over me.
I'll let people fucking totally hijack my nervous system. Drugs, though, like, come on. You know what I mean? I'll let love and fucking all the spectrum of emotions that humans can offer do that to me. That's cool. They're the best drugs. But actual drugs, like a thing you have to go pay $6 for every day, like, fuck that. Like, that's not that much. People have crazy addictions that are way beyond that, but like, that's what I was doing. And I was like, this is insane. I don't need this. And the way I got out of it was just saying it's preventing me from evolving to where I need to evolve to. It's making my problems too simple.
You're stagnating.
I'm stagnating because when an issue comes up, instead of dealing with it, I'm popping one of these things in my mouth, and it's making me feel better. And that can be very useful if you're panicked or something and you need to calm down, and it's like, oh, cool. Chemical intervention can kind of just, but when you're just doing that all day, every day, like chemical intervention after chemical intervention, like, I don't know. I just feel like you're setting yourself up to not evolve the tools you need to fully be here and comprehend what the hell's going on.
Totally.
And nicotine is such an innocuous one, especially when it's not in its smoking form.
No, I think the problem is for people who have more addictive tendencies. Like, I think, honestly, for me, if you see me having a panic attack, go get me a nicotine pouch. Like, honestly, that should be in my tool belt. Not that I...
Oh, no, we do it. We used to do it with Hoppe. We've been cool, and neither one of us have been
But I don't,
freaking
because
out.
I think for me, it's not, I don't get addicted. I just, like, it'll, like...
Yeah.
But I guess that's probably because there are more people, like, that are hijacked every day. Like, you're so sensitive.
Yeah.
That, like, the things that get you worked up happens more often. So that's, I think something like that.
I can't have a fucking sip of alcohol or caffeine. Really, I can't really drink anything except water. Like, this is how sensitive I've become. This is probably how sensitive I've always been, but I used to just blast my system with orange juice, sugar, fucking this isn't it. And now it's like I've become so sensitive, and you start to cut the things out that were like desensitizing you a little bit and polluting your temple, and you become more sensitive, and you become more sensitive to the world, and you become more sensitive to your needs. You become more sensitive to your impact on the world. And that's what I'm after. How am I impacting this place? How am I impacting the people around me? What's my vibe like? If I'm all out of sorts and I'm popping nicotine all the time and this and that, like, I know I'm not myself. I'm not vibrating at the level that I want to be.
Well, it's
and
also
I'm not knocking anyone that does anything. Like, you do what you got to do. I'm just speaking from personal, because I smoke weed on the daily, obviously not here, but that's the whole thing. I don't need weed, clearly. Like, I just, it's like, cool, I smoked weed until the day we got here, and then it just stopped. Have I been,
No, you've been great.
if anything, better than ever?
Totally.
Like, weed ain't an issue like that for me. It really just helps me stay funny, have an appetite, and sleep.
Yeah. Those are important things to
Beautiful.
keep things going smooth.
So in order to, I don't have an appetite because I'm not on weed while we're here, but I'm able to sleep because I'm up in the sauna here. I'm out in the sauna of real life Abu Dhabi, but then there's a sauna upstairs and a gym.
Which,
so
of course, you're like, let's do the sauna.
I wake up, I run 5 miles, I go lay out in the sun, then we go shoot all day in the sun. Then we come home, I get in the sauna and pass out. And that's the only way I'm able to sleep, because my mind's too active otherwise, or it's really my body. My body just like doesn't want to take that level of rest that it needs.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm just learning to self-regulate a little bit better as I get older. I don't know. I think people think we're younger than we are. The people we're working with, at least, like, they hear me saying this stuff and they're like, "Oh, you don't drink, you don't have caffeine, you don't smoke, you don't. How do you party? How do you?" I'm like, I'm fucking 40 years old. The party's over. My party is, my life's a fucking party. My life's a fucking party. Listen to the podcast we did with Lacey. Like, you know.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone put up maybe it was Jerry Saltz or something, a Venn diagram that's like create art, 25%. In 1970, it was 25% art, 75% sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Now it's 25% art, 75% social media. And I was like, that's funny. That's funny because right now because the person who sent it to me is like part of the art group that I'm part of. I'm like, right now my life is 25% sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and then 75% social media.
Oh my God. Yeah. God. Well, and that's another addiction. That's an addiction we need to take a look at, because it's not a chemical intervention. I guess it is. It's like
dopamine,
false dopamine hits. It's another thing that's preventing you from fully evolving and blossoming. I feel is that tendency, like nicotine. It's very much like nicotine. It won't stop. Like the spirit of nicotine is such a fucking jealous bitch. Anytime you go to do anything else, it wants to be there. It wants to take over. It wants you to think about it first. And social media is the same way. No matter where you are, you will see people looking at their fucking phone. No matter where I am or how fucking hallowed and sacred it is, I will still look at my phone. I could be in the most interesting thing ever, and after a certain amount of time, usually an hour, there'd barely be an hour go by where I wouldn't look at my phone. Mm-hmm. But again, if I just leave it in the car or leave it at home, which we do a good amount of time, I don't even fucking think twice about it. It's not like, oh, I'm untethered, oh, I'm going through withdrawals. Like, why the fuck am I doing this thing all the time?
No, it is very relieving when you leave your phone somewhere else.
Me?
No, just anyone.
Oh, anyone, yeah.
Yeah, for me.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a great feeling. It feels like true freedom again. It feels like you're not beholden to these things. And like for me, it's just like I don't even have anything on my phone except Instagram and Twitter. That's it. I don't use my phone for anything. I just have Instagram and Twitter on there. So if I'm looking at my phone, that's usually what I'm looking at.
Well, sometimes you're like, I'm only doing songs on Spotify.
Oh, well, Spotify. Yeah, Spotify's the main thing I'm doing on there. But in terms of social media, it's Instagram and Twitter. And even on Instagram and Twitter, I've muted every single person in my feed. So like when I open it, what I'm subjected to is literally whatever the fucking algorithm wants to feed me to compensate for me having hidden every single person. And the reason I hide every single person is so I don't feel tempted to go look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to just delete it.
Oh, I was so good at not doing it. And then for casting, I was using Instagram to help find people for this job. And yeah, it's been hard to... And now I kind of feel like, oh, what if someone hits me up on there, even though I'm talking to everyone on WhatsApp? I'm just like kind of like, oh.
Yeah, that's a tough one to break. That's like going to be the addiction that the next generation has to deal with as they go, as they move ahead. And I think eventually we'll look at social media the way we look at cigarettes. There's something that's really bad for you. From prolonged exposure to that, years and years and decades, it's really bad for you. And what cigarettes are doing to your lungs, rotting them and just causing fucking death and decay. That's what it's doing to your spirit.
And
that's
brain.
That's what. But more than your brain. Your brain can handle it. It's causing death and decay to your spirit. You know. Mm-hmm. It's confusing you. It's confusing you. Think about what we were evolved for. It's not this. It's not this level of information. Being bombarded with this level of information.
It's truly the opiate of the masses.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
There's been a lot of opiate of the masses.
First opiates. TV.
Religion. Sports.
Mm-hmm.
Now social media for sure.
Social media. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck.
I do love it though. I love, like today I saw my friend opened an art studio and started a new flower business, and I learned that because I saw an Instagram post. No,
I love it. It's just like anything, when there's a profit motive behind it, it's going to become co-opted and just...
Oh my god, it's hard. There's so many clothes. I'm like, and they like kind of know what I wear or something.
Yeah.
It's like, damn.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool because it's helping us in the sense of, I feel like now when there's a shooting in Texas, it ain't just their problem. It's a global issue. And that, Like, that's cool. I think we're more connected in that way. I think it has helped us evolve because I'm not going to try to get into the shooting or anything, but when I was in high school, Columbine happened. That was 1999. That was my senior year of high school. The Columbine shooting happened. That was like the first big mass school shooting in the United States. And there was a lot of fixation on who were these kids and their names. They were made to be famous, and their names were plastered everywhere, and their faces were plastered everywhere.
Trying to understand how
Trying
this
to
happened.
understand them, and just really thinking about it as in these individuals. And now we don't even hear the names of these people anymore, or if we do, we don't remember them because everybody kind of rightfully, I think, goes to more systemic blame and shame, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that ultimately is a good thing if these things are going to keep happening. That the conversation gets it's steered away from like, well, that's a bad seed, that's a bad person. It's like
His parents were divorced.
yeah, or he played video games, or that's the problem, and he did this and that. The conversation around these things when it first happened, obviously, was very unevolved, and now it's more nuanced, and I think now we're taking into account a lot more factors, and I think people are looking at and questioning systems more than they ever have, and that's what we specialize in.
You specialize in it.
Very much. Yeah, definitely. That's what I do.
I'm on this wheel.
You'll follow the rules.
I'll follow the rules. I'm a rule follower.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, so it's interesting, and I think that's because of the internet. I think because we're more connected and we can hear stories of people from all over the world, as much as of a negative impact that's had on our nervous systems, it's had a positive impact on the way we view each other. And I think ultimately, if it gets channeled in the right way, it can be a vehicle for compassion. Just the fact that we have access to all the information in the world and anyone in the world, and like no one's really disconnected nowadays in that way, but we are disconnected from the land and each other, and yeah, it's that shooting is just such a tragedy, and
Yeah, so
we did a couple false podcasts before we got this one where we tried to talk about it, and it was too hard. So I apologize if anyone's offended that we didn't address the however many countless next whatever school shooting that just happened in the United States. It's a complete disgrace, and as Americans traveling abroad, it's especially mortifying and embarrassing because people ask us, like, what happened? Why did this happen? Why does this keep happening? And
it's just, yeah, like you're saying, is America's sick. Like,
yeah.
There's a sickness, and you can see it because of the amount of opiate deaths, from the amount of shootings, the amount of just, there's a lot happening where we're screaming.
Yeah.
Screaming for help.
Yeah. We're desperate.
Really hung out to dry
Mm-hmm.
in this society.
Yeah.
And they like it that way, or that's like
Mm-hmm.
a much more powerful position for people with money to be in is for the people who don't have money to be scared of having even less money. So they won't
Mm-hmm.
fight for more money because the risk of them having less money is too scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, America prays to the gods of greed and exploitation and violence and death, and that's what our country's all about. And our two biggest exports are violence and like our culture. And the violence is who we really are, and the culture is who we think we are. That's our two main exports. And we really got our hooks in the world with our culture stuff. Like, we come here, and these are kids from halfway across the world that have never set foot in our country and know everything about it, and know everything about our celebrities and our movies and our sports. And
Well, because they're cool. Because
Yeah.
you know what's cool about America is that people from all across the world have gone there.
yeah,
And it is cool because it isn't a homogenous population.
yeah,
and
that's true.
we're pushing off of each other, and we're competing with each other, and we're creative, and I don't think we need economic desperation to be such a big part of this equation.
No.
And I think it's unfortunately killed a bunch of artists, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, countless artists. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
And countless people. Like it just the amount of homeless people, the amount of incarcerated people, and to call ourselves the freest country the world has ever known, it's just such a joke. It's just such a joke. When you have to incarcerate that many people to call yourself free, like, doesn't that feel like a compensation?
And you don't have control over the decisions that affect your life and
Yeah.
your body and your
Mhm.
consciousness and what medications you're allowed to take.
Mhm.
You know, you're not allowed to take plant medications because they want you on that.
Yeah. Well, because you might question things. That's really what's the most dangerous thing about
Also,
pot.
you might not need the pills.
You definitely won't. You kidding me? You know? Like there's plant allies out there that could help us through this, and a lot of people need them. Think I'm one of them. You know, I think most people could use a little something to help get them through.
A little something, something.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing that I choose to take is floods me with the divine feminine, and the things that are legal flood you with masculine energy and dominator energy. That's the stuff that's encouraged and illegal. And the stuff that kills you, and the stuff that just makes you just a lump of a person, just incapable of doing anything except pursuing your next fix. And increasingly, that's what more Americans are. That's what their life looks like. They need something to get by because they're dealing with a litany of ailments from being poisoned by their environment in so many ways. And just from every angle, we're getting poisoned. And people need stuff to try to help navigate that, and the things that really help people to do something about it, I think, are illegal, and the things that help you question and navigate that are illegal, and will remain illegal because they're a threat to the status quo, and status quo will be protected at all costs, and we have not even begun to see. We haven't even begun to see the fight that's ahead of us. And the powers that be would much rather see a civil war than a changing of the guard. And that's scary when you think about America going to civil war now. There are more guns in our country than there are people. I think most people couldn't even wrap their head around that.
I'm pretty sure whatever side has more guns will win very fast.
Yeah, it seems so, right?
So
It seems so. But the war is being fought on so many battlefronts that I think we're blind to a lot of them. And obviously, the one that really is the most attention grabbing is the violence with actual guns. But there's violence being inflicted on us from every angle. Every person every institution you thought you could trust, you cannot. The doctors, the fucking just name it. The capitalism corrupts. It corrupts everything.
The products
Profit
that
motive
we consume
corrupts.
all the food products we consume.
Yeah.
They're not created with our health in mind. They're
No.
created with making sure our taste buds rely on that and need that.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
are addicted
Exactly.
to that.
Yep. You serve your taste buds to spite your temple. And we're taught to keep doing that. And we're our education system is a fucking joke. And there's been a concerted effort to try to defund public education in every possible way. I mean, I saw it when I was in school. They just started taking out arts and language and music and all those types of things from school. I was in a rich school district. I'm in the biggest school district in New York State, I believe. Lakeland School District, one of the biggest in New York State. And they're just taking programs away one by one. Just saying, we don't have the money. Teacher salaries suck. You know what I mean? Like, we don't pay these teachers. We don't pay for their supplies, and now we want to arm them to protect the kids.
It's insanity.
Yeah.
Well,
cool.
like you've been saying before, we were like talking about common sense, and it's like there is no common sense anymore.
Yeah. Oh, we just got to fight for common sense gun laws. Like, okay, there's no common sense, so I don't know where we're starting from there. So you got to start with the common sense of realizing I can only, and this is the Jack Cornfield saying that gets repeated ad nauseum, tend to the part of the garden that you can touch. That's you. That's me and you. I can touch this part of the garden in your life, our parents, our siblings, our friends, our little community.
Well,
that's our garden.
I'll say, I think the garden is bigger than we think sometimes, and I think there is, and this is why I'm thinking about it recently, is because I just watched the Loneliest Whale.
Oh.
Yeah, and I've been wanting to watch it forever because I was like,
Can you say what it is?
it's a movie, I believe on Amazon, that is about this whale that makes sounds at a certain like 54 hertz. And all other whales are at different hertz, so they can't necessarily communicate. Spoiler alert, seems like there are actually other whales that will communicate with this whale, and it was kind of this thing about how lonely he is or whatever, or she.
They thought of the story and wrote the script before they went and made the film, probably.
Well, yeah, it was like a headline
Yeah.
that's why they made the film based on that. But my point is,
You can't remember.
I can't remember. No, what were we just talking about?
The loneliest whale. I don't know. We're all the loneliest whale. We all think no one else is vibrating at our hertz, but they are, you know?
This is why. So whaling was a really big thing, obviously, up until very recently.
Yeah.
And what really shifted the culture was this recording of the humpback whale songs that was put out on vinyl. And so people, for the first time, were able to hear on a vinyl record that became like a top bestseller that the humpback whale sings a song. And then there was something so, I don't know if the right word's humanizing, but about this whale population, and kind of it influenced people. I mean, National Geographic, the most prints of an album there ever was, they put like a plastic insert of the humpback whale songs in every magazine.
So many households had this recording and listened to it.
And that's where like Greenpeace then started, and lots of protests, and they went from like, they decreased from like 100%, say 100% to 3% whales being killed every year in like the span of like a very short period of time. So it just makes me feel like, I don't know, maybe there's so many people and there's so much different opposition, but I gotta believe that like opposition and protest and taking a stand and shifting cultural values and awareness has to do something. There has to be some way of...
It definitely does. And again, it just takes us back to what we started talking about, the importance of why we do what we do. That's our garden. What can we do? We can show the humpback whale song of a drug addict, of a cam girl, of a juggalo, of a wook, of a Florida man, and show like, oh, we should extend our compassion to that person. They're a person too. I hear that. I hear their little 54 hertz or whatever.
Yeah, totally.
No, but for real, that's what we can do. That's what we're here to do. I know that.
Yeah.
Like I know it. I'm not confused about what I'm here to do. I can get bitter and enraged about it sometimes because it feels like I'm not in the financial position to do it as much as I want. But we're here to help people see each other and see themselves in each other and make a more connected world out of that. And it's a pleasure to get to do that. I think it's an honor. It's a big responsibility too. It's a big responsibility because I think you have to continue to work on yourself in order to see the world in a certain way and not let that bitterness and resentment turn into something that's just not going to help people. I don't know who it helps. It doesn't help. What helps is get back to work. Let's get back to work. Let's get back to work and recognizing each other and spreading compassion. Spreading compassion is such a wonderful thing. I love, that's my favorite thing to do. And if somebody slips up around me and they're in my inner circle and they start fucking talking shit, they're going to hear it from me. Yeah, totally. Because I think most likely when someone has talked shit, like there's the great example of, I don't even know if you were with me, but I was with a couple friends at lunch.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? With like, I'm getting a guy from my job fired and I'm going to make sure he doesn't get unemployment. And that really bothered me. And I wasn't trying to be mean, but I think I laid out a good case for why we should not treat people like that. And I think it might have shifted the consciousness of my two best friends.
Yeah, kind of like, because they were like, he was personally got mad at this guy.
Yeah.
For probably justified reasons.
Yeah, totally.
You know? Yeah. And then, but to realize that, like, and kind of like resentful that the idea that he could be on unemployment or something.
Like, yeah, fuck that. Like, nah, that ain't it, man. That ain't it. taking shit away from other people, trying to ruin someone's livelihood. That's not where it is. What's actually more interesting is to take a look at the part of yourself that wants to do that, and be like, and recognize that, and recognize we all have that in us, but that resisting that part is really what being a human's all about. Resisting doing that knee-jerk fight or flight, fuck this motherfucker, I want to ruin their life thing that I spent my whole fucking teens and 20s in. I used to brag about revenge and how good me and my cousin Jesse, we talked about this in the Bastards of Young podcast. Me and my cousin Jesse used to brag about how we could get someone back, and we would fuck you up if you fucked with us. Suck our dicks to all our enemies, you know? So, like, but we both have evolved a lot, and it's taken different things. And I think for him, it was like losing his father and falling in love for the first time, and now having kids. And like, for me, it was like smoking pot and taking mushrooms and falling in love with you. And, you know, just transcending that layer where you're just a fucking whiny bitch, a little brat, complaining, fucking petty, revenge, all of this stuff, very, very low frequency, low consciousness type of expressions. But you can evolve. I used to be that person. You should listen to that podcast. If this part of the conversation interests you, go back and listen to that podcast I did with my cousin Jesse. I think it's like episode 250 or 249.
Yeah, you guys should do more together.
We're gonna do
plenty
more.
of stories.
Yeah, we could go on for him and I could have our own thing.
Well, I mean, this is a common saying, but it's anger is like drinking poison and expecting it to hurt your enemy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and I remember reading somewhere that was like, is it worth it to you to be mad? Like, is it worth what it like about this thing?
Yeah.
And once
Also,
I realized like, it's never worth it.
It's never worth it. And hating somebody means they won.
Yeah.
And fuck that. If I'm Michael Jordaning my shit, no, I'm not going to hate anybody because that means you won. That means you got under my skin. Yeah. No one's getting under my skin. Like, because my compassion's online. When my compassion's on, and everybody has it. This is not something, it's there. It's just lying dormant. If you know, if it's not presenting itself in your life, it's just lying dormant right now. But yeah, my compassion's online. And my compassion's online is because I've traveled the world talking to fucking freaks for years, connecting with them, vibing with them, becoming friends with people from all walks of life, and not just keeping myself, you know, protected and scared and leaning into those things.
I think it's also you've had a front row seat to this person that you love the most, your dad, like really betraying you in so many ways. Yeah. And then seeing him make a turnaround and like understanding that people can change and that he wasn't doing that because he wanted to hurt you or he was against you. Like,
it wasn't personal.
I think that's the best thing that's happened in our society is that this deeper understanding, and maybe you always had it, but I think that a lot of us are waking up to this idea that people who are doing drugs, it's not like a selfish, just hedonistic, like they don't give a fuck. It's like they're medicating this experience, and that you want to have compassion for people because it's not like they're doing it to hurt someone else. They're doing it to help themselves.
I was so mad at my dad. You know, I hated him. I did. That's like probably the main person I can think of that I've ever harbored hatred towards is my dad. Because I thought he was ruining our lives. In a lot of ways he was. Like, he was heavily addicted and running around and stealing everything from everyone and embarrassing me in ways that I could still get really cringe over. And stealing from me, like I would go make $80 a week working at a deli and he'd steal it, you know, like fucking crazy. But my mom stuck with him, so that she was trying to show us compassion. It's not like she wasn't enraged. It's not like she wasn't fucking crazy, but she didn't throw him out because she knew who he really was. And I didn't have the compassion because I didn't have enough data points. Mm-hmm. And as I stepped into adulthood, the second I stepped into adulthood, I said, oh, I get why people have to take drugs. Okay. God damn.
Like, oh, it all makes sense now.
Oh, my God. Especially because, like, I come from my dad. He's a very sensitive guy. He's a very sensitive soul. And so am I. I'm very sensitive. And unless you figure out ways to work with that, drugs are going to become very easy go-to because they just will make you a little less sensitive to the outside chitter chatter of life and just.
Yeah, it's like a Merkaba, I guess, in some way.
Totally. And
I
throw your drug Merkaba on and like what could fuck with you?
Yeah, and that's probably why like addiction's not a big thing that I struggle with besides social media addiction, but it's like I feel like I'm kind of like
you're in a hamster wheel.
I'm gonna fucking yeah.
Yeah, you know, like you're fine being in there too. Like it's when I say that, no, Cass. You know, when I say that, first of all, I'm taking that language from the birthday book, right? Isn't that?
Or no, it's from it's something else, but yeah.
It's something about your astrology.
Some Sabian symbol that Mare showed me. Or something.
But we all thought it was a really funny one, and I don't think it's a criticism. I think you're lucky. You're lucky because that's an inner authority in a way. Mm-hmm. There's always something for you to do. You're not bored. You're not like there's always something for you.
Well, that's why
I'm a little bit more floaty. I'm a little bit more, a lot more fucking responsive to my environments and people's moods and stuff like that. You're protected. You're naturally protected.
Yeah, I'm like, you're just standing in my way.
It's why I've needed drugs a little bit more than you. You know, it's why I did a dance with nicotine that you didn't like. That you could take a pouch here and there and it didn't make a difference to you.
Well, no,
I need them all the time.
It definitely helped when I felt like overextended or something.
Yeah, but you were never addicted to them.
Yeah, because I protect myself to get from being overextended or something.
Yeah. You're just very you're a very conscious person, and I had to develop those things because I've had a really, really wild, crazy life.
Yeah.
A lot of stimulation being thrown at me 24/7. Besides my dad using drugs, my household is insane without drugs. There's seizures. There's my sister dying. There's seizures. There's this person fighting. There's fucking two parents waking up and drinking 6 pots of coffee and just screaming and yelling all day. Like it's an extremely overstimulating thing for a sensitive person. That like, thank God I found pot. Like I feel like that's my little Merkaba, my little protection. And weirdly, pot makes me more sensitive. So I think it makes me go in and through. And I think it's why a lot of people hate pot because it brings to the surface all the stuff you've maybe been tamping down with coke and alcohol and work and fucking social media and all this stuff. And you smoke pot and it all comes up to the surface. And I feel like pot helps me navigate that stuff and go in and through it and continue to evolve and not stagnate. But then it's good to do what we're doing now, which is like take a break from it, you know, because we have to. Or I'm just speaking about me. You don't care about pot, really, you know.
Yeah, I could probably care about it like once a month, like where I'd be like, oh, if I haven't smoked in like a few weeks, I'll be like, oh my God, weed would make everything. What am I doing? Everything would be brighter.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's really the best. You're the best.
You're the best.
Thank you for doing this podcast with me.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah. I really appreciate it. I know it's like sometimes not our first idea, or it's definitely not your first idea of something you would want to do.
Well, this is the thing. Once I like really dived into like my astrology, it's like I'm a hamster on a wheel. I started to get really down about it because I was like, Jesus, it's true. It's so true. And I think in a lot of ways it's helped me because like it's a way to navigate letting you be on your own trip sometimes. It's like always feeling like I got my own trip, and like if I'm not that concerned with your trip, like I can be a lot more like loose in our relationship and energetically, and not like as energetically possessive, I think. But damn, I was like, God damn, I'm on this wheel. Like it feels like it's never gonna get easier or something. Or that, you know, it's just like I'm trapped in a way of seeing things. It's like I almost know too much about how my makeup works that I feel like it's starting to all feel like one note. But I think I just it's like a
no one's one note.
Okay.
Nobody. You know, leave it to you to fucking think that about yourself after 34 beautiful years and all these friends and all this expression and all the lives you've touched and the people that you've helped. And you're not one note. You're not one note. No one is. You contain multitudes.
Yeah, I try to remember that.
You are the universe. You are all of its expressions.
Yeah,
everything is a reflection of you. You are all of it. You have a way of dealing with things that's hamster on the wheel.
Yeah, it kind of gets old.
One of the ways. Yeah. It all gets old. It all gets old. That's why I just want to do the right thing and fucking get out of the process of being born into a human form again and again. You know
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I got to download when I heard about this shooting. Like, it really shocked my system in a way. And my first words, you were standing right there, I was just like, that dude just signed up to come back as every one of those kids. That guy that killed all those kids just signed up to come back as every one of them, to come back as their grieving parents, to come back as their grieving friends and like, he just signed up for countless more passes of having to come back into this fucking thing and do work and face your karma. And that's the download I got. I don't know how true that is. I don't even know if that
There's no way to
aligns with
know.
any spiritual or religious thing, but in my heart, that's what it felt like. And that's why I try to be a good person, because I feel like I'm going to have to deal with it from their perspective eventually.
Yeah.
So let's try to just be good to each other. Let's try to be nice. Let's try to tend to the part of the garden that we can tend to. Let's beautify our lives and just express love and compassion for each other and be living examples of that, and not living examples of our political indoctrination. There's lots of ways to fucking deal with our grief, but I don't think fucking hot takes really help anyone. You know, this ain't a hot take. Shit's fucked up. We got to look at things. We got to look at things from a way more zoomed out perspective and stop dealing with things in such a whack-a-mole surface level way. You know, we can ban this and legislate that. You ain't going to legislate yourself out of a fucking crisis where a whole country is sick, where 100,000 people die of overdoses per year, where fucking 2.5 million people are behind bars and 600,000 people are out on the streets. You don't legislate yourself out of that. You change everything about the way you were doing things.
You already forgot.
Let's do one right. See you on the other side, y'all.
Peace and love.
Patreon.com/churchofchill.